Horses are in the yard for the third at Kalgoorlie. MM Electrical Maiden, 1400 metres. You won't see Sassy Sky in the mounting yard. Horse number 10, she's already off and around to the barriers. So we'll start with Edward's Choice here. Chanel Cooper rides and takes 3 kilos off. 55 on the back today for Edward's Choice. He's a $5 chance, looking to break through at start number 18. He was beaten 4.5 length last start by the Candy Kid, who just ran them a merry dance on that soft 7 track. Comes back to 1400 metres here, draws a little bit awkwardly, barrier 7 for scratchings. He's had his fair share of chances for mine. He's $5 here today. He's got the ability to win, but he's had a lot of chances and a lot of cracks at it here locally. Number 2, Unlikely Hero. Charlotte Skerritt legs aboard Vicky Corver here today. Comes through that same race behind the Candy Kid and was around 1.25 lengths behind Edward's Choice. The wide barrier is not going to help either. Going from 1300 without a trial to 1600, now back to 1400 metres. Was an honest, consistent type in Queensland, but we're probably haven't seen his best so far since arriving on the Goldfields. Number 3, Northern Sunrise, is a scratching, so we move to number 4 in 50 Words, who backs up off 7 days. Wasn't a bad run, I didn't think, last week at Kalgoorlie. Was beaten 1.5 lengths by Lightning Gold over 1100 metres and looked like he wanted a little bit further, so 7 days later he gets that. However, he's yet to place after 14 races in his life. John Lugg legs aboard Lisa Staples, who's looking for a race-to-race double after kicking home Bad Boy Boo for an all-the-way win in the previous. Number 5, Tanks for the Memory, hasn't been seen at the races since the 30th of April 2023. So putting that into days, it's 420 days since he was last seen at the races. Steph Bakranich is his new trainer. Brandon Louis rides him today. Had 3 starts back in April of 2023 and got out as far as a mile very quickly. Recent trial was 4th of 4, but was behind some better talented horses than what he meets here. 1.5 lengths, for example, off the stablemate Buckeye Bullet. He has been relatively solid at that $8.50 quote. Number 6, Absolute Plum, LBW in front, fire him. 14 into 8, very, very popular here. First up here today for Peter Fernie, only seen once at the races, a son of Verdigree, was beaten 8 lengths by Boab Boy on that occasion. Boab Boy's gone on to frank that form. Recent trial was beaten 3/4 by a horse that did flop during the week, so I'm not quite convinced on the trial form, but some punters are. 14 into 8, a market move worth taking note of. Number 6, Absolute Plum. Number 7, Yak Yak, an on-speed type here. We know that this mare's been around for a long while. She's raced down at Albany and Esperance, now here at Kalgoorlie. 32nd attempt today for her to try and break through. Maddie Derrick riding for Helen Harding. Off a 7-day spacing, also likely to roll forward. $10 or $12. You could do worse. Yak Yak should be there for a long way. Number 8, Altina, as Paul Tapper looks to go race to race. Christy Bennett rides this 6-year-old mare at start 27 for her, so a fair few in this field that have had a lot of cracks at it. Beaten 2.5 by Mariah, so did beat home Yak Yak last start. Should get the right run, Altina, from a nice barrier. Number 9, Let Sparks Fly. Peter Fernie had his first start with this filly here last week when she led them up and was a beaten favourite, beaten 3 in the end after leading and fading. 7 days later, a set of winkers go on. Tash Faithful's drawn wide, and you just wonder whether they might allow her to find her feet today. She's $3.60 here, and our favourite ahead of race number 3. Number 10, Sassy Sky, she goes around early. Keshel Duran rides her. She's having her 11th run here today. She's had an interesting preparation. Her first 2 runs for Summer Dixon, who's in the ownership of this horse, were excellent in the provincial area. But since then, form has tapered off really badly. Dave Smith takes the blinkers off here today. He also takes the lugging bit off, and hopefully we can see her on her best behaviour. $13, Sassy Sky. And the final horse here is Araficio, who's only placed the once from 17, but I didn't think was too bad 2 starts back behind Military Action. Going to forgive this mare for last start. She had a couple of runs on rain-affected tracks in Perth and didn't really seem to enjoy it. She struck a soft 7 last start here on the Goldfields and looked to be spinning the wheels. I'm actually going to go her way, but in a very, very moderate maiden. $14 got me about Araficio number 11 as a point of difference runner. Let Sparks Fly's better than what she showed last week when she was run down comfortably. If Sassy Sky's on her best behaviour, she could win this race, but if she's on her worst behaviour, she could also be spat out the back and run last. And number 1, Edward's Choice, always goes around popular in betting, but in the end, I thought he had his chance on a few different occasions earlier this prep where he was beaten fair and square. 11, 9, 10 and 1 for me. I'm going to go a little bit differently here, and I'm going to go with Araficio at odds in the third. 3 minutes to get your bets on ahead of the Electrical Maiden over the 1400.
Okay, 2 minutes off start time for race 3. This is the Electrical Maiden. Your favourite is number 9, Let Sparks Fly at $3.20. On the second line at $6.50 is Edward's Choice. Then $7 Tanks for the Memory. $7.50 Unlikely Hero. $8 Absolute Plum. So a host of chances in the third. The Electrical. Let Sparks Fly, however, is your favourite. Edward's Choice and Absolute Plum donning the same silks. Absolute Plum will don the black cap, and of the two Paul Tapper runners, Artificio will don the black cap. Altina in the customary pink cap from the Tapper yard. So the rider of Sassy Sky has dismounted. It underwent a vet check and has been passed fit. Went around to the gates nice and early with Keshaw aboard. 50 words just arriving behind the line. So runners are coming forward here. Altina about to join the line. Here comes Yak Yak into line on the drift out to $15 Yak Yak. That sort of race though. Very hard to do your form for this race. Let Sparks Fly was actually beaten by a couple of these last start. About to come forward this Epaulet filly, lining up for start 10, and we'll have to do it from barrier 11 today. Tanks for the Memory to come forward. Thanks, Stu. As Tab Radio join us for race 3, the Electrical Maiden, Absolute Plum coming forward. Second start today. Its first was on Boxing Day at Pinjarra, beaten 8 lengths. So Absolute Plum goes forward 50 words. Looks to be the last over at the 1400 metre start. Of course, the Hannon's handicap start. And we will be set. So stand by. Set to fly. Big long run down the back straight. The starter hits the button. They're off racing. Now Let Sparks Fly, the favourite from out wide, is going to cross early. Yak Yak with early speed, trailing it across, being followed by Sassy Sky, who's going to sit prominent. Then we had Artificio, followed by 50 Words, who settles down 5th. A length and a half to Altina with Absolute Plum. Tanks for the Memory, just worse in midfield. Followed a length and a half then to Unlikely Hero. And at the tail, it's Edward's Choice. So they leave the 1,000 metres behind them, and it's Let Sparks Fly, the favourite, found the front, leads out a length and a half. Now pulling its way around the outside is 50 Words. They were followed by Yak Yak, getting a nice run, Sassy Sky, then Artificio with Absolute Plum, one off the rail. They were followed by Tanks for the Memories, who's spotting the leader 6 lengths. Altina under pressure, a further 2 then to Edward's Choice, and Unlikely Hero has been relegated to last. 500 metres to run, it's Let Sparks Fly, showing the way by a length, 50 Words, then Yak Yak. Sassy Sky was next, followed next of all by Artificio. Absolute Plum, Tanks for the Memories a long way back. Likewise Altina, Edward's Choice, and forget about Unlikely Hero. It's Let Sparks Fly with a kick at the furlong, showing the way by 2.5. Sassy Sky in pursuit. They were followed by 50 Words. Tanks for the Memories the fence, but it's all Let Sparks Fly. Let Sparks Fly in front with 50 to run, in no danger whatsoever, and wins. Let Sparks Fly. From second across the line, Sassy Sky. Third a photo, we had Altina and Edward's Choice, who got going late. Tanks for the Memories over on the fence, and Absolute Plum. They were followed in next of all at the head of the others by 50 Words, Yak Yak, Artificio, and a long last Unlikely Hero. Well, number 9, Let Sparks Fly, straight to the front, never to be headed, has gone on to win by a clear margin. Let Sparks Fly, Tash Faithful combining with Peter Fernie, giving Team Fernie an early double on the card today. Races 1 and 3 with Baalbek and now Let Sparks Fly. 10 gets second, Sassy Sky. Every chance to reel in this leader, but the leader was just going too well at the furlong. 1 gets the nod for third. Edward's Choice, who's rocketed down the outside, was a long way back on the turn. And fourth about to be confirmed. 1:25.37 the gallop, so they have crawled in this 1400 metre event. It was a stack and rack job by Let Sparks Fly for Pete Fernie and Tash Faithful by Epaulette from More Spark, owned by the Pierce Racing Syndicate. Also G. Dawes L. Kerr, Mrs. G. McCormick, B. O'Sullivan, A. Savage, Cal Cup Syndicate, C. Pierce, also Skid Racing Syndicate, M. Buckley, Swamp Racing Syndicate, and Lightning Bloodstock Syndicate. So a few connections in the winner there. Let Sparks Fly. Sassy Sky second for Dave Smith and Keshaw Durham by Dundeel from Star Rain, owned by Dave Smith and Miss S. Dixon. Third in was the 1 for Edward's Choice, Pete Fernie, and Chanel Cooper by All American from Orrible, owned by Andrew Ingles. And fourth in was the 8, Altina, who has just been semaphore for Paul Tapper and Christy Bennett. Numbers 9, 10, 1, 8, a length and a half by 3/4, 1:25.37. The time. Race 4 is next. First leg of today's main quaddie. Goodfields Engaged. 2:20 is the start time. The Demolition WA handicap over the 1200 metres. Field of 9 to start. Secret Attire is your $2.30 favourite with Tab Touch. In the meantime, 9, 10, 1, 8 interim after the running of race number 3.